I want to get to this next story. I know if you heard it, I know Elias was talking about it this morning, but this is just kind of, I don't know. Is it fair to say this is like crazy, ridiculous crazy? Maybe. So the OQLF would apparently has found yet another industry to make life incredibly difficult for. You remember we talked about this a while ago where part of Bill 96 that has to do with things like consumer goods, right? So if you were to buy a stove, a fridge, whatever, where the instructions would have to, not the instructions, but the items actually would have to be labeled in French, like stamped in where it says on, off, whatever else. And at the time, and I remember we spoke to Jean-François Lisée about this, and he said, when manufacturers say that they're not really interested in going ahead and changing a production line to accommodate the small percentage of Quebecers who'd be buying these products, he said, well, look at cinema. When movie producers were told in order to show a movie in Quebec, there'll have to be a French version available at the same time, they all said, no, we're not going to bother. And they did. But guess what? As far as consumer goods are concerned, no, they're not. So, in fact, the minister responsible, Jean-François Roberge, has now put off that decision because it was so obvious it wasn't going to happen. Manufacturers were not going to comply, that they're not going to look at this apparently till June of 2025. But then we find out today, check this out, musical instrument retailers in Quebec are now having to deal with this as well. And I don't know how this is going to play out at all. Everything I've read on this suggests that, manufacturers who make guitars, right, will simply say, no, thanks, not interested. The market here is too small. Matt Coburn is a regional district manager for the province of Quebec and Eastern Ontario for Long and McQuade music stores. They're quoted in the story, and he's on the line. Matt, thanks for being here.
Hi, Aaron. Thanks for reaching out.
My first question would be, when I say musical instruments, typically there are no instructions on musical instruments, so how does this apply? On what would it apply to?
Well, a number of items, mainly electronic items, so any type of amplifier. I mean, right in front of you is probably a mixing board, an interface, and a microphone. All of those products are affected. Every knob on your mixer or on your amplifier, to every, on an effect unit for a guitar pedal or a PA system, the back of a speaker. Every single item has to be in French. And it's not that the companies are unwilling to do it. There's a number of companies that aren't able to have a special run of products just for such a small market.
Okay, well, let's talk about some of the companies, though, because I imagine they're really big companies. If it's simply a matter, and again, I'm trying to imagine, because I see big companies here who make guitars, for example, are mentioned in the story. So what are they asking to replace the words treble and bass on something with the French words, the equivalent of it?
Yeah, so if you look at an amplifier, there's a treble, middle, bass, volume, how much distortion, whatever, if there's effects, to a mixing board, level, bass, middle, all of those items, not only the package, but the physical item itself. And we asked the OQLF for a change for this. They flat out said no, and any retailer will be responsible if they want to sell an item to create stickers for it if the manufacturers won't. But I mean, we have over 100,000 products. There's no way I could design and print and stock stickers for every single item. I'm going to guess you.
Yeah, I'm going to guess you talked to suppliers already about this, and what was their reaction?
We've sent letters to every one of our suppliers. We own another company, Yorkville Sound, which manufactures speakers, amplifiers, also a distribution company. All the products that we have control over, we have made bilingual, and we continue to work on it. But these really large companies, they sell all their products in English to much larger markets: China, Japan, Germany. And they're all in English for those markets, and those are much larger markets than what we have here. Especially just in just the purely French-speaking population.
So, would it be fair to say they basically told you we're not interested, and too bad? Is that fair?
Those words exactly. To be honest with you, it was if it's up to you, you'll have to print the sticker, or it's illegal to sell your products, and we'll fine you for doing so. However, and even for us, even if we were to try and afford this and hire 20 graphic designers and start designing stickers to go over every product, that would just be for our products. What about all the small independent retailers? We have some wonderful dealers, including one of the oldest music stores in North America, is up in Quebec City. And I don't know if they could afford to do the same thing, because they'd have to hire all the same type of people we do. It's just going to be impossible. And all the way down to your guitar strings, or if anyone's ever played a saxophone or a clarinet, your reeds. The world's biggest reed manufacturer is Van Doren Reeds, made in Paris. And even the products they sell in Paris, the package is in English. It's not in French.
That's crazy.
It's a universal language that the music industry adopted years ago. And it's every country, everywhere, all over the world. I had a friend in the Philippines this summer, and told him to go into a music store and take pictures. And it was all the same stuff we sell here. Nothing had changed, and it's just that universal language.
So this is not about it.
This be available.
This is not about instruction booklets being made available in French. This is the actual design on the item itself. So it's a much bigger deal, obviously. What do you face?
The packaging and the item.
Yeah. What do you face potentially in fines here?
I think it starts at $10,000 and it doubles. I don't know if it's every week or every month you don't pay it. But the fines are crippling. And what also, gets to us, especially with the smaller retailer, because we own a distribution company, we deal with a lot of the smaller independent retailers. It's okay for Amazon to ship whatever they want into Quebec. I mean, there's no regulation on it. So, which means we could too, I guess. We could ship out of our Pickering warehouse. But, there's a lot of companies, a lot of small businesses, they're not going to be able to go full online and go to shipping. They have brick and mortar stores.
I wonder in your case,
though, it's not going to be available.
Yeah, in your case, even if you did ship from a Canadian warehouse, we've heard too many examples of companies that simply have chosen not to ship products into Quebec for just that reason. So I don't even know that
we don't want to face fines. We don't want to break the rules. We don't want to have to try and be sneaky or do anything. We just want music to continue and people have access to all the products, both beginner level all the way up to as pro level as you can get. And some of these companies, if you look at small guitar pedals, these companies have 10 employees and they ship worldwide. And some of the top artists in the world use them. There's no way they could create a whole new unit, a whole new packaging, whole new screen print just to ship up for how many units are they going to sell in Quebec? So they're just going to say no. And it's not even just our industry. It's every industry. I look at it, especially the hobby industries. If anyone has a hobby, look at your favorite item, see if it's in French. If not, next June, you can't buy it in Quebec. It's not going to happen.
Matt, I'm out of time. My last question would be, what do you do given the fact the government has told you, sorry, your problem, not ours? What's your follow through here?
We've gone to it. We've tried. The next thing is going to be the people talking to their members of parliament and members of provincial parliament. Okay. And because it's, right now schools aren't going to be able to buy reeds for saxophones. They're not going to be able to buy strings for guitars.
That's crazy.
If anybody plays guitar, check your guitar strings. There's not one manufacturer that prints in French, and none of them are interested in creating a special package.
We'll wait and see if we get pushed back on this, like we did with some of those consumer goods, as I mentioned, like stoves and fridge, where they put off that decision for another year. I hope that's at least the case with you. Hey, listen,
we'll see.
Yeah, Matt, I thank you for the time. Appreciate it.